Can you outsource Canadian payroll processing? Why outsourcing even comes up? For most US companies, Canadian payroll is not a core skill. You already have US payroll systems, tax calendars, and routines built around domestic rules. When you add Canadian employees, you suddenly have different tax rates, different social contributions, provincial rules, and multiple remittance schedules. Outsourcing Canadian payroll processing is a natural reaction to that complexity. The real issue is what outsourcing actually solves and what remains on your plate. The difference between processing and responsibility. You can absolutely outsource the mechanics of payroll, calculations, pay slips, direct deposits, remittance preparation, and even year-end slip generation. What you cannot outsource is legal responsibility. Even if a Canadian provider runs every calculation and sends every file, your company is still the employer in law. If something goes wrong, the tax authority comes to you first. You may have a contract with the provider that lets you recover costs, but that does not change who is on the hook publicly. Types of outsourcing models. There are a few common models. One is pure payroll processing, where you register for a payroll account, stay the employer of record, and hire a Canadian payroll company to process payroll under your account. Another is the employer of record model, where the provider itself becomes the legal employer in Canada and then leases employees back to you. The first model keeps more control and requires more understanding on your side. The second model offloads more complexity but changes the legal relationship with workers. What a good payroll processor actually does. A solid Canadian payroll processor will handle registration support, payroll setup, gross to net calculations, CPP, EI, and income tax withholding, direct deposits, remittances to the tax authority, and year-end T4 and other slip generation. They will also track legislative changes in federal and provincial rules, update calculations automatically, and flag unusual items such as taxable benefits or bonuses that need special treatment. For a foreign employer, that expertise is often the main value. What you still have to get right internally. Even with a strong provider, you have to supply clean inputs and make informed decisions. You decide who is an employee versus a contractor, which province someone is employed in, what their compensation structure is, how overtime applies, and whether benefits are taxable. If you misclassify or provide wrong inputs, the processor will faithfully calculate the wrong thing. There is no software magic that can correct faulty assumptions about the nature of the job. Data flow between systems. Another practical question is how data flows between your US HRIS or finance system and the Canadian payroll platform. You do not want to be copying numbers by hand every pay cycle if you can avoid it. Many providers support simple interfaces or file transfers that let you send approved changes for each period. The cleaner that integration, the lower your error rate and the less friction you feel from having an extra system in the mix. Dealing with multi-province and Quebec issues. If you have employees in several provinces or in Quebec, outsourcing helps even more. Multi-province payroll involves different minimum wages, overtime rules, and holiday calendars. Quebec adds its own tax and reporting structures. Good providers already know how to handle these differences. They configure the system so that each employee's province drives the right logic, rather than forcing your team to learn every nuance themselves. Security, privacy, and cross-border concerns. Payroll data is sensitive. When you outsource, you are trusting a provider with salaries, social insurance numbers, addresses, and banking details. You need confidence that they handle security and privacy properly, and that they understand both Canadian and cross-border data rules. That means asking where their servers are, how they encrypt data, and how access is controlled. For a foreign employer, it is worth putting these questions on the table early instead of assuming everything is handled. When outsourcing is not enough. Outsourcing payroll processing does not automatically solve strategic issues such as permanent establishment risk, workers' compensation coverage, or how employment agreements should be drafted. Those topics sit above the payroll engine. You may still need legal and tax advice even if your payroll is in good hands. Think of outsourcing as solving the how do we run this every 2 weeks without messing up the math problem, not as a comprehensive shield against all Canadian risk. Final thoughts. Yes, you can outsource Canadian payroll processing, and for most US companies, it is a smart move. Done well, it gives you accurate calculations, on-time remittances, and proper year-end reporting without forcing your internal team to become experts in another country's rules. But it does not remove your responsibility as an employer. You still have to make sound decisions about how you hire, classify, and pay people, and you still own the relationship with Canadian authorities if something goes wrong. If you are choosing between building Canadian payroll in-house or outsourcing it and want a practical checklist of what to ask providers and what to keep in-house, you can explore more detail at www.theaccountingandtax.com. If you require assistance with Canadian tax matters, our team is ready to provide reliable professional support. Please contact us at 416-283-8774 or visit theaccountingandtax.com for more information. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.